Have you noticed that while there are many crochet trends that quickly spread around the whole world, there can also be many local ones that are limited to one country or one language area? I live in Finland, and while area-wise Finland is quite large, it is quite sparsely populated. And the main language of Finland, Finnish, which is also my mother tongue, is only spoken by about 6 to 7 million people. And there are many very active and large online crochet communities or any other craft communities. I belong to lots of Finnish-speaking Facebook groups and follow many Instagram accounts in crochet or other crafts that people only post in our own language. And what we are going to look at now is I have selected 10 trends over the years, and I wonder if in the smaller language communities there is more of a tendency that everybody starts doing the same thing, because I definitely see that a lot in the Finnish groups. There's been times when every second post in those groups of 40 or 60,000 people is the same item. So it's those we are looking at now. I could have chosen more than 10, but I have selected ones where I could easily find many different photos, for instance, as a Google search, so that you can see what we're talking about. Time-wise, these are spread out quite a bit, and I have also included something from my childhood time, something that everybody was making in Finland at the time. But most are more recent in the last 10-15 years. So let's see the first one. The first one is this here easy crochet rib hat. This was such a fad, I think 2 to 4 years ago, and you saw so many of them in the public wherever you went. I made one as well, but by now I have given it away. So it's crocheted like ribbing upwards that you just then turn, and you first make a rectangular piece and you sew it up for a hat, and you could add a pom-pom. And people are still making those, but it's not such a trend anymore. The next one is a round t-shirt yarn rug. Those were super common about 10 years ago. There were a whole lot of different designs of them, like these here. But I think the most popular one was this here. It's a free pattern on a site of a company that sells the t-shirt yarn. And the pattern name, when translated, is the Midsummer Rose. One reason why this was so popular probably is that we use lots of rugs. People have never used wall-to-wall carpets in Finland in any rooms, so we need lots of rugs. I actually would love one for my living room, but crocheting like that is very heavy on your hands and I couldn't manage it now. Days are so short now in Finland at the end of November. I didn't get started earlier. And it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, it's quickly starting to get dark. So as I talk, you will see it getting darker behind the blinds here. And like last week, by the way, I am filming in my daughter's house, where I'm cat sitting. Third one is this here. These like octopus curly cues. And they were super popular around 5 years ago or so, but people are still making them because hospitals and old people's homes want them. They are seemingly especially good for premature babies because they tend to use their hands all the time and get tangled in whatever equipment they are in. And they go through the ozonation process so that they are safe and hygienic. And other place where people want them, especially older people with dementia, they would have the same tendency of always wanting something for their hands. So these are mainly a charity project. And many people made lots of them, not just one, but a whole pile, and then took them to a hospital or some other place. This next one is the most recent one, and it's still slightly going on. But it was very popular about maybe 6 months to a year ago. Seemed like everybody was making one. And it's a cover for a packet of tissues, paper handkerchiefs, whatever you call it. And in Finland, by far mostly, people buy them in packets like this here. You can get boxes as well, but they are not commonly used. So everybody was making them in their favorite colors, their favorite stitches, and decorating them whatever way, and then posting them online. Most of these things that I'm listing, I have never done. But this next one is something I still make and use. Kitchen cloths in bamboo yarn. You see many of them in any country, but in Finland especially, the important thing was that you used bamboo instead of cotton, because it's softer and more absorbent. And also because you can get endless colors of lovely bamboo yarns here very reasonably. All sorts of stitches and patterns have been used for the cloths. People also say that bamboo is antibacterial and therefore that's good for the kitchen. Now some others say that's not true. I'm not a biologist, so I'm not saying anything like that, just that that's one of the points why people specifically use bamboo. The next one now goes way back to my childhood. In the late 60s and early 70s, there was a short period of time when milk in Finland was sold in plastic containers. The bags looked like this here, so they were like tubes of plastic that were sealed tight, but you needed a jug to pour it from, and they were not practical. They would so easily spill, and when you came back from a shop, you had to make sure they didn't break, and they were hard to store. You can imagine it, they were like water balloons. But what was used for crocheting or weaving was what this here shows, that you cut them up and you use that as chunky yarn. During those years, I don't think that there would have been any house of my friends or schoolmates or relatives who did not have these rugs. My mother didn't have a weaving loom at the time, so she had them woven by a lady in the village, and we also crocheted small rugs back and forth all around. Because that was just plastic, so those were used in places like entrance halls, bathrooms, basements, and you might know that every house in Finland always has had, and still does, has a sauna. So those were often in the sauna entrances as well. I don't have any of those anymore, but whenever I still see one, that really reminds me of my childhood. So that was in the late 60s and early 70s. But the Swedish had already invented the Tetra Pak. And since 1975, this is how milk has been sold in Finland. The next trend is something I still have. This here bag. These here are masonry cord or plumb line twine. Something you get in building supply stores, and it's thick plastic. But about 10-12 years ago, somebody got the idea of starting to use these for crochet. And it became so popular that the store that mainly sold these, it's Swedish but has many shops in Finland, it actually kept running out of these, both in Finland and in Sweden, because people were even ordering it from Sweden. And as soon as a new batch would come out, you would hear of it in social media and people would go and buy it and buy it again. And it was used for all sorts of things. This here is a bag I made, and I made a couple of other ones. And here you see many of the things that people were making using it. This is a Google search. The search also shows photos from my Finnish blog that I had at the time. And because my YouTube channel and blogs were already growing at that time, this here picture is from a magazine that wanted to interview me about this here trend. I even used this for wind spinners. I have a video about that. Some people did not like the use of this here yarn because it's of course plastic. And traditionally in Finland people would mainly only use natural or almost natural fibers. But overall so many people went for this trend. The next one was this here African flower hippopotamus. Of all of these, this is probably the most international trend, and also there was a pattern only in English. People were making these mainly for children. Out of these 10 trends, this must be my least favorite one. This next one was about 5 years ago, 6 maybe, and it was making Christmas decorations by crocheting white lace balls, not very big, and then putting a balloon inside it and hardening it with glue. And after it was hard, you would break the balloon and then put LED lights inside. The last one is a summer one. It's making fake wasp nests to keep real wasps away. Now, if you haven't heard of that, I don't know what you think, but my experience is that they do work. Wasps really think that there is already a nest there and they don't go there. Most people have this same experience. And many of my friends and family have asked me to make them, especially for their summer cottages to hang. But like in many of these photos, people have also made like little wasps, crochet wasps. Those are not necessary at all, they're just for decoration. What seems to work, that wasps notice that there's something of the same type as the real nests are, like cellulose. And for that reason, the important thing is not so much the actual nest shape, but what's inside it. Crumpled up newspaper would be the best. So if you are in a place that has wasps, you can try this. So this was all the 10 trends. And I would love to know if you have seen all of these before, and also if you have noticed that there would be different trends in your country compared to the worldwide crochet community. So please tell me in the comments. Until next time.